I've never ever snoozed an alarm. My habit has always been from a very early age, the alarm goes off, get out of bed, get up.
Motivation might get you through a couple of days at the gym or a couple of days of hard work, but discipline will get you through weeks and months and years, and that will determine your success at the end of the road.
He actually gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym before he even goes to work.
At the moment, I'm eating Maltesers for breakfast and I've got a gym down the stairs.
You know what you should do, Jack? You should put the bag of Maltesers in the gym overnight, and then you've got to go down to the gym to get the Maltesers. And then you just come back upstairs.
Hi, I'm Ruth Martin. I work at EasyJet as a maintenance control planning manager.
I'm Martin Gray and I'm station manager at EasyJet. We employ around 1,000 people across engineering, and this is my Duvet flip.
How important is independence?
Very important. I think once I started working and my own money, it kind of gave me the roots that I needed to know that I belong somewhere, and it gave me a feeling of self-worth.
The more you can put yourself out there, you're going to gain life skills that will take you to the next step.
Independence, self-worth. That is why you should go and look for a job. Young women, what's your message to them?
Apply. I wish more of them would. This is a great industry, it's a great career, it's a great place to be nurtured. I haven't been held back as much as I might have been done in other industries within engineering.
Why engineering at EasyJet?
We're a family. Orange spirit is something that you feel when you work at EasyJet. We invest in our people. We don't do things by half, and safety is always at the forefront of our minds.
And I think that family mentality to go in and solve all those complex problems is really what binds people together. The intensity is excitement. It is incredibly exciting to work for EasyJet.
What's your duvet flip? What gets you out of bed in the morning to flip the duvet?
I think
It's
che vuoi, gira largo da me, non sai che oramai è finita con te, tu sei quella che mi fa passare soltanto chi sei.
So welcome to my duvet flip. How are we both?
yeah, good. Really happy to be here.
yeah, me too, Jack. I'm really excited.
Well, you both had me laughing behind the scenes already, so I think half of it's just going to be us laughing. So you know a little bit about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've seen what happens. You can see that it's all about how do we help the next generation get into jobs, build careers, and actually work hard and have a career that actually is meaningful. And today it's all about engineering and talking about EasyJet, and I've got lots of questions. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of engineering, I want to talk a little bit about you two. So I want to talk a little bit about your careers. People tuning in will be from all walks of life, but I want to talk about where you both first started, and we're going to go on a roller coaster of a ride. Who wants to go first? But my first question is, tell me a little bit about your first job. We always start with the first job because I believe it's the first job that then springpods you into a career. So, Ruth.
So my first job I wasn't paid for. I went willingly. So my dad worked it had a glass fibre shop at the front, and then there was kind of a works at the back. And I'd always go on a Saturday and help out. I think the first job I did where I was paid, I collected milk money. Once a week, I was 12. So I used to go out with the milkman on a Friday night, collect the milk money. And I had a paper round delivering the free papers that you used to get at the time. To get that independence, I think I was paid something like £1 something a week from each of those jobs, but it gave me some independence. They were my very first jobs.
How important is independence?
Very important.
And why is it important for a young person tuning in? And what does how does a job give you independence when you start it?
So I think job gives you an independence because it gives you money. I mean, that's the basic brass tacks of it, isn't it? You finally have the money to make decisions for yourself. I think that independence is important because you may not be in a home you actually want to be in, or you may just want to break out of a mould, or there may be things that you want in life that your parents can't provide for you. I think for me, independence, it gave me a feeling of self-worth. I think that was the other thing. I actually, I was doing something, I was achieving something. Someone was actually giving me money for something that I was doing. And it became a bit of a drug. that desire to do more, not necessarily earn more. I've not done jobs for money. I actually haven't been driven by money at all. It's been more about purpose, having a purpose every day, something that you actually want to do. So yeah, I think that's probably why I do the things I do.
I think that's so powerful, and we've never had that on the show, and we've interviewed a lot of people. Independence, self-worth, that is why you should go and look for a job.
Yeah.
And if you can get into a job and those two, though it provides you those two things, you're halfway there, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Martin? What was it? What was your first job? And did your job give you self-worth and independence? And what else would you add that you learned in that job?
Yeah, I think the first job I got paid for was working on my family farm. School holidays, you'd sit on a tractor for 10 hours a day sowing crop or baling hay or something like that. And I'm pretty sure my uncle gave me $20 for the week or something like that. And I think that, whilst I would have done it for free anyway, right? I think it was just a token to say, you spent 10 hours on a tractor on your own. And I think, we were probably ages of 12 to 15, somewhere around there, right? So I think that independence to go and, it's in a similar token, right? I think moving on from that, my first ever paid job to an organisation was as a lifeguard. Local regional pools. There was 4 pools in the region, all country kids, and I think that, that taught me some valuable life lessons. There's some life-saving skills in there that go along with the responsibility of being a lifeguard. And there's an independence around earning money. As far as the kids working at the local fish and chip shop, I think I was far more paid than what they were for the responsibility. So there was a bit of, there's a bit of competition, I suppose, amongst your peers. But other than that, I think getting after it as a young kid across multiple different jobs, but also companies, different industries. I think the more you can put yourself out there, I think you're gonna gain life skills that will take you to the next step. And I think that's true, no matter the experience level of the organisation you work for. An interesting fact about me: I moved from Australia to the UK approximately 2 years ago, and I've already experienced more than 10 countries across Europe, and my favourites would have to be Italy and Spain.
In your different ways, you've both basically said, get out there, work hard and give it a go. What does work hard actually mean? Because I'm a big believer, when you go into a job, do that job really well. Focus. My mum used to say, Jack, 2 ears, 1 mouth for a reason. Be more elephant, not hippo. And why is that important in terms of when you go into an organisation, not trying to think that you have all the answers? And how does one work hard?
For me, it's just be the best you can be, right? So we're all different. We're all human beings. I could be the best that I could be, but excel more than someone else who's being the best that they can be. So at exam time with my children, for example, I'd say to them, all you can do is your best. One of you might get a C and one of you might get an A, but as long as you can look at yourself and say, I did my best, then you feel that feeling of self-worth.
Have you ever gone into a job or a day or a month, obviously the show's called My Duvet Flip, get out of bed, flip the duvet, be passionate, that you've not done your best?
100%.
And you've gone home and think, you know what, I was a bit lazy today. And how do you make sure that laziness doesn't become a theme and an habit?
So I think everyone procrastinates, right? Everyone's guilty of a bit of procrastination. I started studying a couple of years ago, which is something I never thought I'd do. And that was where I saw my procrastination come out to its worst. And then ultimately I fell behind. And then it was that feeling that I might fail. And then that kind of gave me the kick up the tush to kind of pull my socks up and think, no, actually, you're not a failure. It's probably my Achilles heel. I never want to fail. And I kind of bridged the gap there. But I mean, look, everyone has a bad day. And you have just got to get up the next day and say, today's a new day. I can set right what I did wrong yesterday. And I think that's what I do.
I love that, because a bad day doesn't mean you have to go in the end of that day or the next day and quit, right?
No.
Because a new day is a new day.
Yeah, no, it's a new day.
And we see time and time again, there's an hard moment and emotions get in the way and people will just quit. And actually, You know, that's saying the grass is not always greener. And you know what? Just go and reflect on it. What about you, Martin? What does hard work mean to you?
I think for me, you know, motivation gets you to the start line, right? But discipline gets you to the end. And I think the discipline it's tough, right? And it's you know, it's the cure to procrastination. It's, you know, it's one of those things that it's, you know, it's what you do when no one's watching, and it's tough, right? And I think that hard work to get up, you know, I get up, you know, very early, but to get up and actually put in an honest day's work, you know, and some days it will look different to others, and you're going to have lazy days, right? I think for me, capturing those lazy days is a piece of self-awareness, right? Whether you journal, whether you reflect, whether you take time to, you know, meditate or whatever it might be, at some point in your day, you're going to know in your own self whether you put in a hard day's work today or this week or this month. What did it really look like? And I think if you're honest with yourself, you'll correct it. Right? You might correct it tomorrow, you might correct it next week, but at some point you will correct it. And I think that's incredibly important.
But what Marty's not telling you is he actually gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym before he even goes to work. So you're highly motivated anyway, right? Because I'm not doing that. I do get up at 5 to get into the office because I live 50 miles away. But the thought of getting up even earlier to go to the gym, that's a whole different level of motivation.
That is. And what's made you build that habit? Like, at the moment, I'm eating Maltesers for breakfast and I've got a gym down the stairs and I can't even get up at 5. So how can young people, and especially myself, how can we be motivated? What did you put in place? What is it to make you get into that gym?
It's become a part of my process, Jack. You know, when we talk about my duvet flip, and we'll get to it, but it is a part of my duvet flip now because I believe in my process. And the beginning of my process every day is getting out of bed at 5 a.m. to get to gym, because that sets my day up, right? It sets me up physically, it sets me up mentally, it gives me energy to keep you know, to hit the ground running at the start of the day. And sometimes when I tell people this, they say, "Oh, Marty, I wish I was that lucky that, you know, I felt good to get out of bed at 5 a.m. or, oh, I couldn't do that." I can guarantee you now, Jack, majority of days I don't feel like getting out of bed at 5 a.m. ever. When my alarm goes off, I lay there and I think, oh, 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes, or oh, I'd love a sleep in today. But I know it's a part of my process, right? If I do it consistently enough, day after day, you know, 200, 300 days a year, that means that I'm going to be in a far better position this time next year. And Mel Robbins, I was listening to a thing on her around her 5-second rule. And she, when her alarm goes off, she counts backwards from 5 and she doesn't allow another second longer. And I do it every day now, you know. I just don't allow myself another second longer because I know that'll turn into 10 minutes and that'll turn into scrolling on your phone, or, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, you've just lost that opportunity to start your day really fresh. And that extends into so many other things, right?
So it's all about having that process. And how do you build that? Is it just, I am a big believer of the 1%, just 1% a day, British cycling team, then you become 5%. You don't have to be the 100% at number one. So a bit like what I'm doing, I've gone from a big bag of Maltesers down to a small bag. I need to now do no bags of Maltesers. But it's all about that progress.
Don't get at the Maltesers, Jack. Come on.
Are you a big Malteser fan?
I love a Malteser. I love all chocolate, but it's habit, I think. I've never, ever, ever snoozed an alarm.
You've never snoozed an alarm? Is that because you never put one on?
No, I put it on. No. My habit has always been from a very early age, the alarm goes off, get out of bed. Yeah. Just get up. An interesting fact about me would be how much I've moved in my life. I was born in Oldham, moved to Twickenham when I was 7, moved to Richmond when I was 8, moved to Northamptonshire when I was 11. I then chose to move back to London when I left school at 18. I then went back to Manchester for a year and have then settled back in Northamptonshire. I've been back in Northamptonshire since I was 22. So I fitted a lot in the first 22 years of my life. And
it seems, and that's why I love doing the show, because it gives the insight to what it would be like working at EasyJet. If you two have got this mindset, what's the rest of the team have got? And it's that kind of surrounding yourself with good people. You can do the same job somewhere else, but if you haven't got the right people around you who love a bag of Maltesers, that has got process, you can't grow, so you can grow within. Have you seen that at EasyJet? Have the people around you given you the opportunity to think a little bit differently, to kind of grow your own growth?
I think that's one of the key things about EasyJet is autonomy. So you are given a huge amount of autonomy. And it's something that I've respected EasyJet for, particularly as a female in engineering, to be allowed to run with ideas that I've had or things that I've wanted to put in place, and also been, it's led me to progression. Everybody has a lot to do. Everyone is not stretched, it's stretched in a good way. And so if you haven't got that can do, will do, crack on, help each other, because you can't do everything on your own attitude, then you probably won't thrive in a company like EasyJet. It's fast paced, it's dynamic, it's really agile. Our processes turn on a sixpence. You look at other airlines, and to put in a process change could be quite a long and lengthy process, and we just don't work like that. I can have a conversation with Marty, and as a result of it, change something that my team are doing that would work better for his guys. We will do that overnight. And so, you need to be surrounded by those kind of people. And engineering is an early industry. My guys start at 6 o'clock in the morning. First wave is when it all happens, right? So first wave is when the aircraft take off for the first time. In the summer, that's from 4 o'clock in the morning. By 8 o'clock in the morning, the biggest load on EasyJet is over. The most stressful part of the day is the beginning of the day.
And why is it stressful?
I say stressful it could be translated into exciting, really. So pretty much every aircraft we have, 340 odd, all take off in a very tight window in the morning. Right? So from an engineering point of view, we want them all ready and good to go. So for Marty's guys, it's getting everything signed off that was done in the night, so they're all good and ready to go. For us as a management team, it's okay, the ones that aren't good to go, what's wrong with them? How do we recover them? What is it that we need to do to get them in the air so the passengers get to where they want to be? The school summer holidays, you've got that extra responsibility because we want to get everyone away for their holidays, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the intensity that goes with the industry, Jack. It is just, I don't know if I could cope in another industry that isn't that intense. So I think that naturally with a company like EasyJet, as Ruth mentioned, we pride ourselves on the amount of complexity that we manage with the teams that we've got. And that comes down to the success of the airline, the growth of the airline. We're still continuing to grow year on year. We've got apprenticeship programs that we're currently investing in. We want more people into our business to be able to grow again in the future. So it is incredibly exciting to work for EasyJet.
Absolutely. And you use, I get how you're using the word stressful, because I love good chaos and having that way. Like, I started my career in a sales environment, and it's just like go, go, go. And that made me better in my personal life. And when you go to the gym, or you're bringing up 2 twins, everything else becomes really easy, right?
Yeah,
because you become an
100%.
all-rounder. So what I'm hearing really clearly is that if you want to be an high performer, if you want to be great at a number of things and be on your feet and learn quickly and get ahead, then EasyJet is a fast-paced, lean organisation, very agile, where you can do that.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I haven't been here as long as Ruth, as far as EasyJet's terms, but
I never thought I'd stay at a company 17 years. I think the most I did was 6, because for career progression, you actually do want to keep moving on. Now, and I have moved on in my career within EasyJet, but I have no desire to leave. And the bottom line is I'd be bored. That's the problem. So I think engineering became my home and EasyJet became my comfort level.
So I want to talk a little bit about your job titles. What do they mean? Station manager. Tell me a little bit about your job title, Ruth.
So I'm maintenance control planning manager. So I work in a place called MOC, which is maintenance operations control. And what that department does, it's the engineering sector that's involved with the live operation. So I'm in what's called the integrated control centre. There's 2 halves. You've got ops on one side. So they're dealing with the flying programme, the crew, ground ops, and all that kind of thing to keep it all moving. And then from our side, we've got various teams in there that are talking to the pilots, dealing with the engineers. And my team specifically is split into 2. I've got short-term planners and mid-term planners, and they plan everything on the aircraft every day. So unlike your car that only needs servicing every so many thousand miles or so many months, they are looked at every single day overnight.
Wow. So if I were to join your team as an apprentice, what would I be getting on with? What would I be doing?
Okay, so our first apprentices started on Monday, which was really exciting. And I've brought 2 into MOC and 1 into supply chain. So the MOC apprentices are going to go across 3 job functions. We're going to do it as a rotation. So I've got 1 starting with my guys in maintenance planning. So it's a transitional journey. So you can't bring an apprentice in and then say, right, we're going to teach you how to plan maintenance on an aircraft. So we're going to give them some background to the role, get them involved in some of the administrative work that goes into planning an aircraft, and then transition them through to actually doing the planning. And the maintenance planner apprentice will actually be working between mid-term and short-term. It's getting involved in both roles. The other apprentice is going to be starting in material planning. So they're the guys that move everything around the network to support the aircraft. And then the third rotation is maintenance control officer, and they support our maintenance controllers. And they're the guys kind of running the day from an engineering point of view. They're talking to the pilots, they're dispatching the engineers, and just keeping everything running on that day-to-day basis. So yeah, it's going to be a cross-functional apprenticeship.
They get a hybrid role to look at all the different areas.
So they do that for 2 years. They get their level 3 in business admin while they're with us. And then at the end of the 2 years, we're hoping to absorb them in one of the 3 roles.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that level 3 in business administration is recognised in any organisation, right?
Yeah. So we're also offering functional skills. So actually one of the apprentices didn't make the mark in their English. So they'll be doing their functional skills with us so we can get them up to their level 2. And we committed to that at the point that we did the apprenticeships, because it wasn't about academic excellence. It was about the aptitude of the guys on the day, guys or girls. And when I say guys, I actually mean girls as well. So we brought these young people in. They went through various assessments on the day. Now for the level 3, you do need a 4 to 9 English and maths, but we made it really clear on the day that if they didn't hit the mark, were prepared to do the work, we would support the functional skills so they could still come to us. I gave up on school because I was moved a lot as a kid. I was academically fine, but I gave up on it. And I wanted any young person to have an opportunity to join us. Not everyone wants to go to college or university, and we need to create opportunities for those kind of young people.
Absolutely. And when I went into my apprenticeship, I had to do the functional skills because I didn't pass it in school. So that just opens a whole new door, right?
Yeah. I've just done mine. I did them at 52.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, to do my level 5. So never too late. Never ever too late.
Young women tuning in, what's your message to them?
Apply.
Being a female in engineering, like a lot of females will look at a job description and say, I can't do one thing on there, so I'm not going to get involved. So your message is to just apply.
This was the reason for the apprenticeship, because if people are looking at those job adverts, and I went to lots of schools in Luton and said, we put these job adverts out and none of you apply. You kind of read it, you don't associate yourself with that job role. What the apprenticeship does is it opens up a door. There are graduate programs as well, and they open up a different door. But the apprenticeship for me was, talking to the kids. This is a great industry. It's a great career. It's a great place to be nurtured. I haven't been held back as much as I might have been done in other industries within engineering. Sex should not be a barrier to a job. I mean, it just shouldn't be. It's 2024. We're in a different world to what I was in the 80s. And I wish more would see it as an ongoing career, not just to work on the aircraft, the support jobs needed to keep those aircraft in the air within engineering are well-paid, fantastic careers for people, male or female. So I would like to see more coming through.
And I love that you try your best to go to schools and educate and don't feel like that they're not engaging, because I went to a school 6 months ago and I'm meant to be the UK's chief officer, and I got a jam sandwich at me and it was meant to be an hour on stage and I only lasted 10 minutes. And
Ouch.
so I think there's just an engagement that it's just, if you can get through, and this is why we do this show, and this is why I wanted you on, because if we can inspire people, young people, the next generation, just to go, actually, I love fast pace. I'm an early mourner. I like to get up early, and this is an opportunity to be an high performer. Then this is an opportunity for you, right?
Yes.
To have a hybrid role for the 2 years.
Yes.
You get your level 3, and then you then get the opportunity to decide with obviously you guys to say, okay, what does the future look like, right?
Yeah. So there's loads of opportunities for these people. So at the end of the 2 years, as Marty will explain, there's another apprenticeship where you can then actually learn and progress to be an aircraft engineer. But also what we're teaching them is transferable. And as much as I don't want to lose them, they have got their level 3 in business admin. That will transfer anywhere. But also when you've learned planning, which is very transferable, and you've learned materials and other kind of operational support roles, the world's your oyster, right? You really can choose where you take that. I hope to build some loyalty and retain as much as we can. But these young people then really have got a lot of doors open to them at the end of those 2 years.
I can see that.
Yeah.
And Station...
Can I just stop, Jack? So she's very humble because she's not going to say it, but this was actually Ruth's brainchild, this apprenticeship. And it's a byproduct of, her journey from where she was when she was younger. And I think all of us are extremely proud of the level of work and effort that Ruth's put in to bring this to life and give these kids, like she said, straight out of school, an amazing opportunity to not only prove themselves, but to having a really exciting journey at EasyJet. So you should be very proud of yourself.
I agree. I can feel so much heart.
Oh.
And even on your LinkedIn post the other day that you did, I could just feel it.
Oh, yeah, this is my legacy.
Yeah.
My interesting fact around EasyJet is around the culture and the orange spirit. Orange spirit is something that you feel when you work at EasyJet. And I didn't quite understand what it was until I joined. It's probably one of the reasons I'm still there 17 years later. It's a culture of teamwork, pulling together.
And station manager.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be greeted by the ambassador of Australia. What is a station manager?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jack. I think depending on the size of the base, some station managers are still quite hands-on with the aircraft, and other base managers or station managers are, removed with bigger teams just because of the size. So I think, from Ruth's part of the business where we're looking at the maintenance planning, we're looking at the fleet on a screen, we're trying to fit all the components of maintenance into a program, that work then just gets disseminated out to the stations, and then the station engineers are then completing that physical work on the aircraft. So as a station manager, I'm trying to get all those bodies and all those skills all singing from the same hymn sheet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to ensure that those aircraft all depart safe, compliant, and making sure that our customers have a really good journey every single day.
And is there apprenticeship in that as well?
There is. So we currently have an engineering apprenticeship. We have about 70 plus engineering apprentices already in the program, currently in work at the moment. We go through a similar process to Ruth's team. We evaluate them at a GCSE level. We've probably broadened our criteria more so than others because we want to be able to capture everyone. And then we go through a series of aptitude testing. We want to see their CV. We want to see what they look like on paper. And then we actually just really want to see them in person, right? We put them through pretty extensive assessment criteria. We bring them into a day where we assess their hand skills and their practical skills. We need them to deliver presentations, and we put them through resilience interviews and technical knowledge. So we're not just looking for the best and brightest academic kids to join from an engineering perspective. We want to see you as a complete individual. Show us where you've been, show us what you can do, and then we'll make an assessment at the back end of that as to how you'll fit into EasyJet, and how what your future pipeline into engineering will be.
They do need to be slightly older. So for this one, they need to be a minimum of 17 and 9 months because there's a requirement for them to end up working nights.
17 years old and 9 months.
Yeah, so it's 17 years and 9 months because then by the time they've done their initial training, they've gone over 18. So they need to be 18 to be able to come into the hangar environments at night. It's a safety requirement. So they are slightly older, and we do 2 cohorts a year now.
Yeah, we've taken in 20 apprentices in every cohort. We're seeing huge numbers, Jack. It's really positive to see, right? We're seeing 2,000 plus applications for 20 positions, which means it's a great problem for us to have, right? It takes us a long time to whittle that down to the 20 that we need. We're seeing really good uptake from all walks of life, from all backgrounds, male and female. We're seeing some really good numbers. Our current apprentices in work, I think the national average is about 15-16% female apprentices. We've got really great momentum. We're 20+% at the moment from a female intake perspective. So it's really great to see.
So you get 2,000 applicants a year, but you want more, right?
Of course, right?
Apply. Don't let that kind of be a reason why you wouldn't apply.
No, and actually you see people come back again. So we can do an assessment day in the April, and someone doesn't make the cut for whatever reason. They're given feedback, and then you see them again in October. It is actually lovely to see them come back, and quite often they'll make the cut the second time.
And I think there's probably a misconception, Jack. Once you get accepted in the program, we start paying you, right? You might not know very much about aircraft at all. You're not even working on the aircraft. You're not even seeing an aircraft, for the first 10, 12 months, but we're paying you. We're paying for your accommodation. We're putting you in a facility, in our EasyJet Academy for 10 months, where the kind of rubber hits the road from an education perspective. The theory is quite intense. We put them through their paces. We want them to learn everything around, the aircraft, theory of flight. We want them hydraulics, there's power plant. There's really everything that they need to know. And then the back end of that 10 months, they go into a 14-month practical exposure. We put them in hangar environments. We put them in line maintenance environments. We get them exposure to the aircraft in a training environment. And then at the back end of that, we're suggesting that they're qualified, they're meeting the qualification, but then we want to care for them after that, right? Which is, well, how do we then take you from a qualified aircraft, mechanic, to then the next level that we need you to be at? And then that kind of coaching and guidance is really where we want to spend most of our time.
That seems really thoughtful and staged. So it's not just dropping the deep end, it's phasing and getting them to a stage where they don't feel overwhelmed or stressed, but they feel I'm a big believer that courage comes before confidence, right?
Yeah, wow.
You're giving them the courage so then they can be confident when they're in the ANA.
Yeah, that's right. And there's so much opportunity. Once you're in, Jack, whether you want to stay an engineer for your career and earn, good money and travel the world or whatever it might be, I think there's opportunity for that. Or you can progress into another part of the organisation. You can maybe get into MOC, or you can go into a completely different, pathway. I did that. I was an engineer for 7 years, and the next minute you're a project manager and you're an analyst, and you're just kind of finding the next opportunity, impressing the next person, and all of a sudden, you're in something completely different. So I think, EasyJet are just so good at doing that as well. My interesting fact around EasyJet is we are UK's biggest airline. We have 346 aircraft currently operating approximately 2,000 flights a day during the summer.
There's a number of airlines. Why engineering at EasyJet? What's your kind of... I can see why, because you'd be hanging around with really cool people, you get all the training that you need, and you'll thrive, and it seems like a high-performing but kind environment. But why, if someone's listening in, why should they be looking at EasyJet?
So I think for me, particularly engineering, we're a family. 100% we're a family. Marty's based in Bristol, I'm based in Luton, but you can tell we know each other really well. So we're quite a condensed kind of group of people. I think we invest in our people, right? We don't do things by half, and safety is always at the forefront of our minds. Ultimately, they will be given autonomy, which is actually very rare, right? So there is a policy and a procedure they need to work to, but if they can think of doing something better or how we could do it better, I'm going to listen and I'm going to think about it, and we may even implement it. And I think that for me is why it should be EasyJet. because you're empowered in a controlled manner to make a difference.
So I'm hearing it's the real deal. It's not an afterthought.
No,
And it's
that's
a
it.
place to thrive.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think, it's tough, Jack, right? And the rain's coming in sideways and you've got to change wheels and brakes and do hydraulic defects or whatever it might be. It's tough. But I guarantee you that the other half of that coin is they love it. And I think that family mentality to go in and solve all those complex problems is really what binds people together.
I love how you both have just been, I use this saying, make sure that you have job honesty. And you've just been really real with what the job is, what it's not. A lot of people would come in and say, it's this, it's great and everything, but you've actually just been really direct and honest. And that just sings so much around your culture in terms of it's going to be hard. It is early starts, but you're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a high performing team. There's the right structure training there, and use it all a good team, whether you're halfway around the country or in Berlin. It's one unit, right?
Yeah. And I think we've got good examples. So I think for an apprentice coming in, if you look right at the top of the structure of engineering, so our director would have started as an aircraft apprentice, right? So you can see as an aircraft apprentice just how far you can go, because ultimately our whole management structure, me aside, these guys will have all gone through that apprenticeship journey. It is the way into aircraft engineering. And so if you are aspirational, you could go as far as the top, because that is the journey of the guy at the top of our tree. That is what he's done. And ultimately for my apprentices, I hope they're gunning for me. That's what I'd like. I'd like people to be thinking, yeah, in X amount of time, I want to be sat in her chair. Because you want that. I want that from my team. I want them to be gunning for me. Because I was sat in their chair wanting to be where I am today.
And that goes back to your part around legacy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
We've only got time for 2 more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you believe has been your invisible success to have a successful career in engineering so far? That you can't find on LinkedIn, you can't look on the CV, nothing you've said today, but what has been one of your invisible successes to actually thrive in the industry and thrive in the roles that you're in, that you want to pass on to others?
It's tenacity for me, I think.
Yeah. And for me, it's networking both ways, right? In a sense, and what I mean by that, Jack, is I've had a lot of mentors over my career, both inside and outside of work, and it's really guided me on my journey through personal success, and just my drive to succeed within aviation and now EasyJet. But I think when you get an opportunity to give it back, and I remember when I, was a wide-eyed apprentice or, as an engineer thinking, I want to take the next step, and I went and approached my first mentor and just really asked for a coffee chat. Sometimes when you get caught up in your busy day, you think, do I have time for this? And it's exactly where you should dedicate your time. And I think that will then naturally come full circle.
Absolutely. And my final question, are you ready for it? We'll start with you, Martin.
Sure.
What's your duvet flip? What gets you out of bed in the morning to flip the duvet?
I think when I look at my ambition in life and work, Jack, it is bringing it back to that process that I spoke about before, factoring in that if I want to achieve what I want to achieve in my life, I'm going to need to focus on my process, and my process starts at 5 o'clock in the morning, getting out of bed to go to gym. So yeah, it's that. It's if I believe in it, and if I believe in what I want to achieve, it is that I need to stick to my process, and that flips my duvet in the morning. So.
And have a Barbie ringtone.
That's right.
We got him there, didn't we? And you, Ruth, what flips your duvet in the morning?
It's me. I thought about this actually. I think initially I felt I'd failed myself by not doing well at school. Right? So I think I was proving myself wrong. I think I had a belief that I could do well in life. And I was constantly trying to prove that to myself. And then I had my kids, single mum. It became them for a long time, that drive to do well for them and give them the things they needed. But they're 26 now and haven't got that excuse anymore. So I knew this question was going to come up. And I thought, actually, it is just me. I have a natural inner drive to just get up, go to work, do as well as I can. I've got a big team. I feel really responsible for my team. Nobody wants a rubbish manager, right? And that's why I did my level 5 so late. So it's just me. It's just, what can I do today to make my life or someone else's life a bit better? And that just comes from me.
Absolutely. Well, I just want to say thank you to both of you. I've really enjoyed this. Your kindness. We've had a bit of a laugh, haven't we? We could talk for hours. But also just sharing your EasyJet journey and just bring us on the way, because you can easily see a logo on a screen and a job description, but behind it is good, hard-working, honest people that you can actually go and learn from, grow with, and become friends, right? But I've seen that with you two, winding each other up behind the scenes and just being good people. So thank you for coming on the show and sharing your journeys.
No, thank you for the opportunity. It's been really good fun.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. And thanks to all you're doing as well. It's amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Just still good to be part of the journey.
Thank you.
Che vuoi gira largo da me, non sai che oramai è finita con te. Tu sei quella che mi fa passare soltanto